Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Echoes of Malus. On our last episode, the players, after crash landing in the desert of Nocturne, woke up in the quaint little home of Suha and Jafar. After waking up, gathering their bearings, and stepping outside, they went off to the airship where Lee threatened to kill an old woman.
Come on, Lee.
I'm not going to say anything about that. I think that's an oversimplification, and we all know it.
Wow.
So, when we left, Aila was walking Lynn back to Suha and Jafar's, and the other three of you had investigated the airship and found that there was a plate on the back where the engine should be, but no longer was. So, where do you guys want to be right now?
I mean, I think our next move is to go back into town and talk to those two traders that Suha mentioned.
Yeah, is there anything notable other than all of the bodies and blood and everything at the crash site?
I think I made an investigation check, but I had a bad one, so I couldn't find any like gold or anything.
Kato is definitely keeping an eye on Lee and making sure the catalyst stays in his coat.
Okay.
Let's go back to the village and talk to those traders. I don't think anything of note is around here other than lots of death and sadness.
Lee picks up his now sand-covered wig and puts it back on.
You're now sandy blonde.
Nice wig.
Yeah, he pulls out his little makeup kit and starts reapplying stuff.
What's the deal with the disguise anyway? Are you like wanted or something?
Yeah.
Because I'm not Minos Vasilu.
What's your name then?
Lee.
Oh, that's a lot easier.
Yeah.
Are you planning to kill any more or threaten to kill any more old women?
Nope.
Okay. Is John or any of my retinue from the treaty signing laying dead anywhere nearby, or did they not get onto the ship?
I think that they probably would have been in the cargo hold, and it would have taken a lot of work to distinguish who was who down there.
All right. Well, rest in peace, John.
Pieces.
Yeah.
Sorry, pieces.
Bad joke.
Kato
God,
starts
that's dark.
walking away.
A mass death happened. Let's make some jokes about it.
It's
All
not
right,
D&D unless you make light of all of the dead.
Hey, at least we didn't go around saying, I want to loot the bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, you
All
kind
right,
of did. You did
a
a
little bit of exactly what I wanted to do.
So,
Yeah.
do we get any gold from this, actually? Because if we loot the bodies and there's a bunch of noble people, I'm assuming there is something of value.
I like how
I'm
Connor said,
kinda
good
with
thing we
that.
didn't do this thing, and then did the
Well,
thing.
they-
It's
Just
exactly
you
what I
guys-
tried to do.
If you guys are going to start picking through mashed up bodies for gold, I'm going to make you roll really high constitution checks to not get sick, okay?
Okay, a little hurling would be worth like 10 gold.
I'm walking away. I start walking back to the village.
All right, we're going to cut away from the boys. Aila, is there anything that you're doing as you drop off Lynn or after or anything like that?
Drop off Lynn. We just kind of walk quietly back and take her in and see Suha and Jafar and just say, we've been out to the ship. Lynn's really tired. Is it okay if she stays here? I'm going to meet up with the
Oh,
rest
yes,
of
of
the
course.
crew.
No problem. As she's an honored guest in this house and as someone who is seemingly infirm, she is welcome to stay here as long as she needs to.
Okay, good. Okay, well, thank you very much. We're going to go talk to the traders, so we'll see you after a while.
Thank you. Jafar and I will head out to the festival area here soon since we're leading that project. Lynn is she's exhausted, so she's kind of in her own little world, not really paying attention to what's going on. You head back outside and head off to the festival platform, and you meet Kato, Lee, and Connor there.
How is Lynn?
She's pretty worn, more than just the walk, as you can imagine. I think the situation, finding out all the things that she had done and not being able to have any memory of it, she was very distraught over how she could have absolutely no memory of what's happened to her. No real idea of how that come about other than the shock of the crash. So I think she's very, she sincerely doesn't know what's going on. She doesn't remember anything. Tend to be a little intuitive to people when they're trying to lie to me, and I really didn't pick any of that up from her. Right now, I think she's processing the weight of learning what her life's work has done.
Lee, how are we feeling?
Fine. Also, call me Minos while we're here.
Minos, how are we feeling?
Fine, I just said that. Let's talk to these traders.
So, an unfinished stage, about 20 feet across and 15 feet in depth, rests not even 20 feet from the burbling spring. It is totally drenched. A crew of locals, all gray-haired, assemble the stage. The sounds of hammer on nail establish an unsteady rhythm. Others gather water from the spring in large barrels and roll them over to a nearby storage building where the water can cool. Next to the storage building, leaning against the wall, 2 women in metal armor rest, watching all of the proceedings.
This was a kind of a giving thanks ceremony? Is that right?
I believe so. It's a Cinco Mera thing or something like that. I assume with the river, and I don't know the Nocturnian iconography very well, but it seems pretty obvious.
Does anyone want to give me a survival check?
Survival.
I will. Oh, that's like a 12.
Yeah.
I don't have
let's see.
anything good for this, but
18.
17 plus 0?
Okay.
8.
Connor, you are the first person to really consider the fact that, given how far into the desert you are, these are some of the very few Nocturnians who do not rely on Cinco Mera for survival. Their water, obviously, comes from right here, this spring.
So who are they giving thanks to?
The spirit of the spring, maybe?
Excuse me, I go to one of them. What is this festival celebrating again?
You walk up to a woman and a muslin tunic which goes down to her knees that she has girded up to stay out of the way while she is working, is helping build the stage. You walk up to her. What did you say to her?
I would obviously not from around here. What is this festival celebrating?
Oh, it's for our patron cleric. It's the cleric of the spring.
Does it have a name?
Yes, our cleric is named Tiflamin Altine. He embodies the spring and ensures that it does not run dry.
Don't want to interrupt you from your work. Do you need any help here?
Oh, yes, we could always use some extra hands.
I'll check with my friends and see what we can do.
Of course, anytime.
I walk back to the group. Tiflamin Artim is the name of the cleric. And yes, you were right. It's the cleric of the spring. They could use some extra hands, but should we deal with the trader issue first?
I won't make you guys do a history check for this. A village like this in Nocturne would be lacking a significant number of able-bodied people. As I said, I believe in the previous session, people of working age tend to end up in one of the trading companies, and so are on the road most of the time.
Guys, I'm thinking that maybe if all 4 of us were to go up to these traders, that they might think something is really off. So I'm wondering if it would be better to maybe 2 of us, like, go talk to them. And I'm saying 2 of us, but I'm really thinking Kato and Connor. You guys are kind of in the same sort of business. Maybe you guys could actively start up a conversation with them without seeming too off.
I'm not opposed to talking to them if we think that'll help. I'm not particularly charismatic for trying to woo them, but I can at least approach it from a perspective of they probably have heard of the Legion, and I can at least use that clout.
Like Aila said, you have similar jobs, right?
I wouldn't say so, but I could see why you would think that from the outside. And maybe they would feel the same. I could be vague, and yeah.
And if we really need to, we just do the old, smash a plate trick.
That's true. That is a specialty of mine.
Connor, give me a DC 10 wisdom check.
No, 17.
Connor, by the way, I didn't tell you the last time I did that. You weren't there. It was right before the earthquake happened.
Oh, really?
I dropped some hummus. You should have seen the guy's face. He kept ignoring me, and I was trying to get this whole thing signed, and I just ended up chucking some hummus, and it worked pretty well. So
I keep telling you,
it's a classic trick.
It works. It just works.
Connor, it does not occur to you that there might be some logistical issues with trying to break a plate on a desert floor, a sandy floor.
All right, let's get this over with. I don't think it'll come to plate breaking immediately. I'll wave Connor to come with me, and we'll walk over to the ladies.
Can Aila and I, like, discreetly stand, like, 15 feet away just to listen in?
Oh, yeah, I assumed you were just sort of keeping discreet somewhere, but...
Yeah, the two women would have seen you by this point. You can be confident. So they know you four are a party.
For sure.
Yeah. But yeah, you two can stand close enough where you can pick up most of the conversation that's not in, like, hushed tones, if that even happens.
Ooh, can I, really quick, I don't know if I can do this retroactively, but I'd like to give Kato Bardic Inspiration.
Yeah, what do you do to give him that?
I think when he says, I'm not very charismatic, I think I clap him on the shoulder and just like, you'll be fine. I mean, you're a, never mind. I don't want to compliment you in any strange way, but you'll be fine. It's not very inspiring, is it?
Yeah, it's not very inspiring, but I'll keep that in mind.
You seem very capable. I wouldn't worry too much.
So, Kato, you probably know this, but you have a D6 that you can add to, I believe, any attack, ability check, or saving throw.
It's a D6 when you start, yeah. It's a D6 right now. It'll go up when I get to higher levels, but
yeah.
Yes, you have a D6 you can add to one ability check, attack roll, or saving throw. You can add it after seeing your roll, but before knowing the outcome.
Gotta outpace guidance a little bit. That's a D4.
Mm-hmm.
So the two of you walk over to the storage building and up to these two women. One woman is fiddling with a small cylindrical metal object that bears the telltale wavy pattern of chromatic steel. The other woman is very large, about 6'5", you would estimate, and she's leaning on an axe that's even bigger than she is. It's about twice her size. This one does not have the wavy marks of chromatic steel. As you walk up, both of their attentions don't snap to you, but they turn to you. And they're waiting for you two to make the first move.
Good day.
The one with the small metal thing that she's playing with just nods, doesn't say anything.
Can I tell if it's a weapon?
It's moving fast enough that you can't really get a good read on it. As soon as you start...
And she's like doing tricks.
She's like flipping it between her fingers.
Okay.
But as soon as you like set your gaze on it and are obviously studying it, she pockets it so you can't look at it anymore.
Is that a tech deck? No, I'm just kidding.
Do a kickflip.
How is your day?
We're doing fine, says the woman who just pocketed it. How about you?
Doing great. Listen, we crash landed with the airship, and I'm just going to be transparent with you.
So you're not going to introduce yourself by name, or?
Oh, I'm Kato. You kind of seem like the quiet type. I didn't want to presume and make you feel obligated. This is Connor.
Hi, Connor.
It's like a salute.
My name is Aaliyah, and this here is Azza. Pleasure to meet you.
Yes, pleasure to meet you as well. We were wondering, are you some sort of supervisor for this festival? We're not from around here. We crashed on the airship, as you're probably aware, and we're just wondering what everyone's doing.
Oh, that's what that thing is? It's yeah, we heard that last night and went out and looked and I was trying to figure out what that thing was, but airship, so like it's a ship that goes through the air.
Yes, as the name implies. Though it doesn't so much anymore. We'll probably have to fix it at some point, but yeah, can we help you with anything?
Oh, no. We're just hanging out. We're both traders and just passing through.
Gotcha. You've been watching pretty intently, though. Are you helpers, or what's your plan here?
Is it a crime to watch?
No, I wouldn't say so. I've just heard from a few of the townsfolk that you're not familiar faces, and they're a little bit intimidated, I would say, by your presence. So making your intent known would go a long way to make people feel better about it, if you're simply just observing.
No, we're just here. We're just watching. Just doing what our boss told us to do. Come over here and hang out for a bit.
And that's one of the trades people?
Yeah, Nadim.
Okay, any more information? Just hang out. Look strong and menacing. And I look at the larger one, and I say, I wish I had those biceps.
She studies you for a moment and says, thank you. Aaliyah says, yeah, I think, we'll probably stick around and check out the festival, see what's going on. We're off in the morning, so.
Oh, I see. Okay. So you're only here you've only been here for a few days?
Just a couple days, yeah. Just a little rest before we, have to walk through the desert again.
Well, Aaliyah, Azza, it's good to meet you. We'll let you know if we have any more questions.
Azza interrupts you and is looking at you, Connor, and she says, quiet boy, what's that thing around your neck? She, leans over and is obviously looking down your collar. It's like, you got a little red thing in there. What's that?
Oh, this. Oh, it's my pet, Ruby.
Ruby slithers out, perches on your shoulder, and wags her tongue, getting a scent of the air. Seems polite.
It is. It's very polite, honestly. Kind of gets just she is very polite. I did not notice that until now.
How'd you get it?
How'd I get it? We just found each other. Just
Where?
Circumstances and where? Oh, long time.
You don't remember?
No. That one's a little hard to remember. It was kind of a circumstance.
Well, good day to you. I grab Connor and turn him around and...
Bye, Connor.
That was oddly suspicious. Oh, why were you dodgy about that?
Dodgy? What do you mean dodgy?
Okay, bud.
It's my pet snake.
I like that the ranger, where rangers normally have high wisdom scores, is the least able to read people.
I go back to the group and I say, sort of surreptitiously, I don't beeline straight back to them and talk to them, but we do eventually meet back up and out of view of Aaliyah and Asa, and I say, the smaller one is Aaliyah, the larger one is Asa. They work for Nadim. Asa was interestingly insistent on learning about Connor, so I'm a little concerned there, but...
Connor, you look back, and Asa is still studying you, and you momentarily lock eyes with each other, and she winks at you.
Please, God, make him roll an insight check.
Roll an insight check.
I roll an insight check. I'll roll an insight check on that one.
What was it?
Insight check, 18.
18.
16 plus 2.
I think, you don't know exactly what you've done here, but you're wearing pretty flamboyant clothing. You're a young man. You're fit. Something about you must have just set her off. She likes you.
That 6'5" woman likes twinks. I think, aren't you and Kato matched for strength?
Close.
Close.
I think Kato actually outpaces Connor slightly.
Kato probably should outpace Connor, but still, Connor's wicked strong compared to the normal person.
Wicked smart.
You're not a twink.
Oh, well, I suppose that's egg on my face for assuming they had some sort of ulterior motive, but...
I don't know. Everyone's been asking about my snake, okay?
Do they have any reason to? Oh, wait. I get it now. So they're working for Nadim. It seems like it sounds like Nadim just told them to stand around. If we're taking their intention at face value. So should we talk to Nadim maybe?
Are these two wearing armor?
Yeah.
So they're standing out here in the hot-ass desert wearing armor?
They're in the shade.
I guess. Still, it just seems... Lee says...
It's an oasis.
It just seems like... I guess they are within the splash zone of the geyser, but it still seems strange, if they were just here to pass through.
Them being traders who are armed to the teeth because they have to walk through one of the most dangerous territories in the world, they're used to not only wearing full plates of armor in the middle of the hot day through the desert, but also moving and carrying shit.
Yeah. All right. That's
Probably
fair.
feels cool to them.
Still, it feels like they could sit inside.
And have you guys seen any? I mean, realize we haven't made it all the way around town yet, but I haven't seen anything that looks very fortified or looks like it's something that's might have extra guards around it, unless it's over, closer to Nadim's, which
Why would you need to? It's such a rare technology. No one would know what it even is unless you point it out.
Why do we care about this? We can't fix the airship.
Maybe we can put that old lady to maybe get her memories back and she can fix it for us. I know you probably don't care about that particularly, but it's an option.
I think we're probably better off finding a more common mode of transportation out of here. That airship is pretty well destroyed.
So do we want to talk to the traders about leaving with them? When are they leaving? How long are they here?
They are leaving tomorrow.
Maybe we ask if we could, travel with them. See where that goes.
I like it. We'll have to find out where they're going.
Where are we going?
That's a great point. I have no idea.
Good question.
Look to Kato, what is our mission now?
Does this mean that the deal is just not going through at all?
I saw the deal. We had drafts, but yes, I imagine. I think our first step is figure out where the city went. So get back to the capital city of Nocturne. Find Norman Malus, seeing as this sort of hinges on him. And also get the airship back working. I suppose we could go across the desert on foot as well, but that's going to take a significant amount of time. And I guess that also requires getting Lynn's memories back.
Why don't we do both? We could talk to Nadim, and
The day that we
don't
have.
necessarily have to. Yeah, we don't start by just saying, "Hey, where'd that engine go?" But maybe we say, "Hey, we were on that ship and we're trying to get back to Kiblik, where it came from, because the ship was damaged. We can't repair it because the engine is gone." And see how he reacts, for one, and find out if his traders are going back that direction.
This is more for me, but Jake,
Yeah.
if we did get that engine back, what's the over-under on us being able to repair the ship? My assumption was that thing was trashed.
You would need to go look at the ship and try to figure out how much you know about ships. It would be helpful if you had one or two people on your team who were experts in ships.
If only we had one person that was an expert on ships.
That's crazy.
If you want to give me an investigation check, with the understanding that you may end up needing to go back, go ahead and
Sure.
make that now.
You mind if more than one of us makes that?
Anyone who is not an expert in ships will not really be able to do much.
So it sounds like
here.
I'm not getting advantage on this because of my background. I'm just rolling because of my background.
Well, what's the specific wording of your background?
You have advantage on checks that involve piloting ships.
Piloting ships. I would think repair is an important part of piloting a ship, so I'm okay with you having advantage on it.
Okay.
Not me.
Yeah,
Okay.
you would also be an expert in ships, so you don't have advantage, but
15 for me.
19, 17. plus-
Connor, and Kato, both of you reason out in a discussion between the two of you that the big pieces are all there. The hull has some minor damage to it. It might need some repair. The balloons would need patched up. The engine obviously needs to come back, but the bones are there. This is something that could be salvaged. You're not sure if an airship can take off after being grounded very easily, though. That's something that is entirely outside of your area of expertise.
True. And it's a big ship, too. Like, the repairs, even if they're minor, is probably going to take a large team of people, right?
Potentially.
Okay.
Yeah, it generally takes, for a big ship, it takes a couple years to put together. A smaller ship would probably take at least like 6 months.
Who said it needed to get off the ground?
Well, it doesn't have wheels.
But we're in a desert.
We are.
Sand.
What are you suggesting?
Just have it slide around the sand, like
some kind of sled.
Yeah, that's out. Yeah, sled. That's.
I feel like modes of transportation probably already exist that would be easier to get.
Kato, you can give me a history check regarding that comment about other modes of transportation. This one's going to be a DC 10. It's easy.
Well, I still failed. It's a 6.
Okay. Anyone else want to take that one?
I guess I'll try, even though I have no idea why.
Y'all take one by one. We all fail this.
7,
No
9,
way.
9,
Yeah. Let me take this, man. Let me take this.
Yo, let me at him.
3 + 4, 7. Yeah.
17.
Nice.
Something I've learned in my travels.
Aila, you have picked up during your time here in Nocturne, well, specifically at the House of Geddes, that some autos do exist in Nocturne. The roads aren't really made for them too much, but they do exist, and you can get them, but they're almost exclusively, if not entirely exclusively, owned by aristocrats.
So, I think our first concern needs to be, how do we get from here to there? Which, if I remember right, Suha and Jafar said it was 200 or 300 miles?
It sounded like 200 miles, yes. So I think we're going to be best suited traveling with a caravan, which is where I support Aila's point of potentially traveling with this caravan.
Yes.
So we can find out where they're headed, see if we're going in the same direction, and see if we can get to Kiblik.
Let's do that. I mean, let's enjoy the festival tonight, and then we can approach them at some point before they leave and ask if it's possible for us to join. I mean, worst they can say is no, right?
Should we go back and talk to Suha and Jafar about Nadim? I think it sounded, the way they were describing this character, it sounded like they were unsavory, but I'd like more details before we pass any judgment. How do y'all feel about that?
I think that's acceptable. I am kind of enjoying watching them get ready for the festival, and if there's anything we could do, I'd kind of like to wander around town a bit, see what kind of nature they have, that sort of thing. Do you guys want to go talk to Suha and Jafar, and I'll wander around and do that, or you think we're better to stay together?
It's not too far. Suha and Jafar's place is pretty nearby. If anything happens, just shout.
Okay.
So I think Kato is going to go back to the house and talk to Suha and Jafar about Nadim to get more information on them. And then it sounds like Aila and potentially Minas Tirith, or whatever your name is going to stick around and either help out or just sort of wander around the village.
Minos, you want to accompany me?
Yeah, I'm interested in learning more about Tiflim and Altin.
So as you all are about to turn to separate, you actually see Suha and Jafar are walking up to the festival platform. They've got a little crate of tools in hand that they're walking over with. Suha looks up, sees you all, and gives you a polite little wave.
It looks like you could use some help. Can we help in any way?
Oh, Suha turns to Jafar, and they say something. They're not whispering, but just kind of quietly say something to each other, and then Jafar toddles over to the stage and starts working. Suha walks over to you and says, "Oh, we're just getting ready for the festival. No biggie. If you got some spare time, and well," she turns back and sees the two traders still standing there, turns back to you guys and says, "I mean, did you get a chance to figure out what's going on with them?"
We talked to them. I am not certain questioning these individuals is going to yield anything particularly useful. They made reference to Nadim, which I think is a name that you mentioned previously.
Yes. Well, all of the traders stay with Nadim while they're here.
Who is this person?
Trader Nadim is, he kind of works, lower management within the House of Philia trading company. He's Well, I don't want to talk negatively about someone, but he has had some less than honest dealings in the past.
Can you give me an example?
Well, for instance, he offered to fund the rebuild of many of the buildings around town, and he did. And now he's talking about debts that the town owes.
And these weren't debts that were previously decided upon in any sort of written agreement or document?
Well, I mean, I'm no expert on this legal stuff. He might have gotten us to sign something that didn't sound like it was going to be that, or I don't know what.
Okay. Do you think it would be worth talking to him about getting the traders to stop? Do you think he has any reason to be sending these trader guards or whatever they are to intimidate you?
Yes, I thought maybe it has something to do with the debt, but I didn't want to assume. I didn't want to poison the well, so to say.
Okay, I appreciate you letting us go in unbiased, though I'd like to know all the information going forward. We've talked to Aila and Aza, which are their names.
Yes.
They did say that they were sent here by Nadim, who is their boss, pretty explicitly. Mm. So I'm thinking our next step would be to talk to Nadim. Our other friends are helping with setting up the festival and wandering around in the town square and what have you. While they're doing that, and you're welcome to give them any errands you need, do you think it would be useful for us to go and talk to Nadim and see what we can figure out?
Yes, absolutely. If he's behind this, then it sounds to me like he's the man to talk to.
He's relatively on the up and up. There's nothing I need to be worried about in terms of like bringing all my friends with me or anything like that. He's just a businessman who's particularly shady, potentially.
He never behaves criminally. No, he's not dangerous. At least not outwardly so. Everything he does is, whether well-intentioned or not, by the book.
And where can we find him?
Head back down that alley there and then turn left, and then all the way at the end of the street, just past all the other buildings, you'll see one that stands out a little further from them all, and that's his place.
And that's the house. I heard you say the House of Philia. Is that like a boarding house for the traders?
That building is a boarding house for the traders. He works for the House of Philia, which is a branch of the House of Love, which is one of the big aristocratic houses here in Nocturne.
Thank you very much. Anything that we can grab while we're out for you or help out with?
No, not in particular. Just make sure that you're here tonight and ready to have a good time.
Oh yeah, that is another question I wanted to ask. What does this festival consist of? I mean, it's fair if you want to keep it a surprise if it's something like that, but I'm just curious, what does the celebration look like?
This festival is in honor of Tifla Min Altin, who is the spirit of our spring and causes the geyser to go off and make sure that it never runs dry. So so the story is that a long time ago, this village was founded by a man named Rahim. And he had a boy, and that boy, one summer, whenever the spring ran dry, died of dehydration. Very sad. And so Rahim and the other villagers sang a song of mourning to the boy, and the next day the spring came back to life. So now every summer on that day we come out here and build a little platform and sing, and we gather a little donation and we throw that money into the spring, and at least as far as I understand it, the spring has never run dry as long as we've been doing that.
That sounds like a beautiful cultural tradition. I'm very excited to see it.
So you just throw money into it. You don't throw, like, I don't know, a sacrificial animal.
Kato elbows Connor.
Well, this is going to be the story of the whole game.
It's a legitimate question.
It's a bit presumptuous.
Well, I don't know about all that, but I can't imagine that the water quality would stay good if we were throwing dead animals in there.
Gotcha. Okay, we'll go talk to Nadim. What time should we be back for the celebration?
Oh, it's at sundown.
Okay, right. Okay. Thank you, Suha.
Thank you.
Oh, Suha, before you go, I have a quick question.
Yes?
How is Lynn doing?
She seems to be doing all right. She went back to her room and is sleeping away.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course. Need anything else?
I was curious, this the spirit of the spring that you threw this for. Has anyone does it have a physical form?
No. Tiflamin Altine he's like Syncometa, he just embodies the spring. There's no physical version of him.
Has it ever I don't mean to interrogate. I'm genuinely curious. I think Lee has a very small quill in hand and a notebook.
Mm-hmm.
And he's writing things down as he hears them. He's like, has it ever spoken to anyone in some manner?
Not that I know of.
I've again, not to speak to with any detriment about the way your village worships the spirit. Is there any indication of it having a certain level of intelligence?
What exactly are you asking me? Are you asking if our cleric is unintelligent?
No, I'm asking. Well, I guess I'm asking if it's a cleric.
Well, of course. We've been worshipping Tiflamin Altine for at least 100 years.
And in that time, no one has seen it in any form besides the spring itself or spoken to it.
I don't have any problem if anyone has their own thoughts about Tiflamin Altine, and you're not the first person to question this. Lots of people can have debates. I feel very strongly in my heart that Tiflamin Altine is real and provides for us and protects us.
No, of course. Again, I apologize.
No,
I
it's
don't
fine,
mean
dear.
to be. I don't mean to question your beliefs. It's the way I was raised. A cleric has a certain definition to it, a certain tangibility, and I understand that some don't show themselves the way that others do. So again, that's my mistake.
Okay. You're okay. You're always free to ask questions, honey.
Thank you. Lee awkwardly closes his notebook and puts it away.
As they're finishing up their conversation, Aila is standing there taking note of this. And in my head, I'm thinking, he really asked a lot of questions about clerics. Seem to be very interested in clerics. And just kind of files that away, thinking.
Well, do you all need anything else before I go help Jafar and the others?
No, I think we're all right. Aila, did you want to join Kato and Connor and speak with Nadim, or do you want to see, I guess, Suha, is there anything that we could help with if you're busy?
If you guys have free time, you're always welcome to, you're of course welcome to help us build the stage.
Sure. Suha, we'll be back to help in a few minutes. I'm sure this won't take very long.
You all, just be sure to be back by sundown, okay?
Of course. We move to join Kato and Connor.
I reach over and pat Suha's arm and just kind of stroke it a little bit and lean in and say, somebody has to watch over these boys. And wink at her.
Suda smiles sweetly and then turns around and heads back to the platform to begin working with Jafar. You all follow the directions that Suha gave you, walk down the road, and on the far end, you see a lonesome building. This single-story redstone building with a lean-to on the far side sits alone on the eastern end of town. In the distance, the pyramid looms ever large. Sounds of chatter emerge from the far side of the building under the lean-to. You walk to the other side and you see a graying man and a young-looking woman sitting under the lean-to. The man is wearing fine silk robes, and the woman is wearing metal plate armor similar to the traders that you saw earlier, but hers is not as it's half plate as opposed to full plate. As you approach, they both look up at you. The man seems to be studying you, trying to figure out what's going on. The woman is just wide-eyed, and you cannot tell what emotion she's expressing at the moment. But the man says, "Hey, welcome to Trader Nadim's. You need something?"
Well, actually, yes, we do have a favor to ask, but obviously we're not from around here.
No, you guys are the ones who crash landed last night, aren't
Yes, yes. And if introductions are in order, I'm happy to.
Here, sit. You all sit. Have some tea with us.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. Thank you. Everyone. I think I kind of hand wave everybody over.
There's a little thin rug under the lean-to, and you sit down, and at the center there is a jug of tea on a little burner, and surrounding it little plates of dates and nuts and other snacky foods. He pulls out some cups out of a little box and sets them each in front of you, and then pours tea for all of you to drink.
Much appreciated again. Thank you. You're a very gracious host. I am Minos. Minos
Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you. I've heard you are Nadim?
Yes, Nadim, of the House Affiliate Trading Company.
Excellent. Pleasure to meet you as well, Nadim. And this is your, I don't want to be presumptuous. Your assumptive, your wife?
She turns to you and is bewildered. And Nadim says, No, this is Arwa. She is with the House Affiliate Trading Company as well. Her and her party are traveling through in Traders Rest here as they stop.
Again, my apologies. I'm unfamiliar with the area or its people, but
you lock eyes with Arwa as you're speaking, and it kind of gives you like pause for a moment. You are a bit petrified by her stare, then shake it off.
Can I make a little check or something?
Yeah, give me an insight check.
Yeah, I'd love to know what's going on with that. I got a 4 + 1, 5.
Okay.
Had 14.
14. I mean, some people are just, compelling in certain ways.
All good. I think Lee just kind of averts his eyes awkwardly and continues to speak to Nadim directly. So, if you'd like, I could introduce my companions here, or they can introduce themselves. But speaking as a whole, we were curious what direction you're going. We heard from your 2 guardswomen that you're leaving tomorrow, and well, frankly, our mode of transportation is no longer functioning.
So I've seen.
We were hoping to see if we could travel with you.
Well, introduce me to your friends, and then we can discuss further.
Certainly, everyone.
Kato puts his hand to his chest and says, I am Kato.
Pleasure.
Connor.
Aila.
It's a pleasure.
Very nice to meet you. Thank you for the tea.
Very nice to meet you all as well. So, you asked about the caravan's direction, and that is northward. I am not going with the caravan. I have to stay here and keep the business running, but they are heading northward tomorrow, going toward the Spired City.
Forgive my ignorance. We're looking to go back to Kiblik, and I don't actually know. We're a little. You can consider us a little bit. We're quite lost. I don't know what direction Kiblik is.
I would say you certainly are if you're here and looking to go to Kiblik. That is all the way across the desert and halfway through the delta. So the quickest way there, I think, would be to head east from here, past that big pyramid, and then you would stop through the village of Izbat Aznaga and head northeast toward the capital. That being said, are you planning to go alone?
We would definitely prefer not to, seeing as we don't have much in the way of supplies. Although I'm certain we could scrounge something up.
Well, let me ask, what has you going to Kiblik?
More just hoping to get back. I know that based on our benefactors here, Suha and Jafar, you don't receive very many news.
You guys crashed here last night, and I have been incredibly curious. Now you're saying you want to go back. What happened?
I'll be honest, a lot of it is a blur. Well, let's go in reverse order. the airship was in the air and was attacked by a giant spirit in the sky. I've been told not to speak its name.
I see.
And before that, it lifted off as an emergency measure because I think, and I'm going to sound a little crazy here, but stay with me, I think the entire city of Kiblek raised itself off of the earth.
At this, Nadim and Arwa look to each other and nod a little bit. Nadim looks back to you, suspicious, but not incredulous. Arwa, again, totally inscrutable.
You don't mean to suggest, with the look you're giving me, that this is not entirely unexpected.
You're saying the city is now in the air? Like, was it lifted up by... It's floating.
It was when we left.
Last we saw it, yes. Not that we saw it for very long.
It's almost if, like, someone, like, took a spoon and, like, put it under the city and lifted it up.
Oh my.
Yeah, it doesn't seem great for a myriad of reasons, but that is the last place we were before we were here. And so, honestly, we're hoping to recoup, to reconnect with anyone that we were party with who, didn't get on the airship.
It's truly the only place we know to go.
Do you know what happened to the people who were there?
Not really, no. I mean, they seemed fine when we were leaving, but I guess I don't really know what happens to a body if it goes too high in the air.
Well, I hope nothing. But regardless, Suha and Jafar's son, I believe, was moving through the city recently, if the manifest I received are accurate.
Is there any chance that their son would have been in the area where we were? Are you familiar with the city? Do you know where he would have been?
I don't know where he would have been specifically yesterday. But I know he was moving through that area. So there's a chance that he survived. Hopefully he survived.
So I guess now you understand the situation a little better. I understand your caravan is heading north. It sounds to me like Kiblik is northeast, or
if you were to the most direct way would be to head east. But you could still get to Kiblik in a more roundabout fashion if you were to go north with the traders.
Is there a stop on the way?
There is a small stop. There's the village of Maruk al-Fatar, where they rest for a day or two before going the last half to the Spired City. Maruk al-Fatar rests on the edge of the floodplains, so the traders like to stay there and recuperate a bit before completing the journey.
If we were to go with your traders to their next stop and then head toward Kiblik, how far is it where they're going?
That would be, he looks and calculates in his head, 220 miles.
So that's just basically a day longer than if we were to go directly east.
Oh no, it would be far shorter. If you were to go east, that would be 155, 160 miles.
I was thinking it was around 200 miles, but it had been my misunderstanding.
If you've asked any of the locals, they would have to guess. They do not know these by heart, I'm sure.
It sounds like we can do this, take very slightly longer to get there, but have much more security and possibly resources. Or my thinking is that we'll have to rent some kind of transportation or buy it outright and travel on our own. And frankly, I've never been in a desert before. I wouldn't know the first thing about the hazards here, so I would be much more comfortable if we did find some kind of deal to strike.
I concur.
Well, wonderful. The The price to join in on a trading caravan would be 2 silver per mile per person.
How many miles?
It is 120 miles to the Spired City, 60 to Marogalfater.
Looks at his light pack of silver.
Is there work for us that we can do on the way to make up some of that cost?
He turns, places a hand on his chin, looks to Arwa, and then without turning his head, his eyes turn back to you, then back to Arwa, and then back to you. And he says, I've got a little bit of work you could do if you're interested. We have a job that needs a little bit of muscle.
Oh, thank God. That we can work with.
Here's the thing, that this is a very poor village. And I'm sure you've looked through and seen all the buildings that are crumbling. So I helped recently with making some repairs on the buildings by offering loans to the locals, which they signed, and it's all completely upfront contracts, and they all agreed to it. And now collectively, they've all gotten together and said they're not going to pay these loans. So we've got to garnish that somehow. This evening, there's going to be a festival, and they're going to gather a pot of gold and throw it into the spring. Complete waste of money, right? So we're just going to interrupt the festival for a little bit, garnish that donation, and then the loans will be paid off, and bippity boppity boo, it's all behind us. So we've got traders here who are working the job, and I don't expect any trouble, but if you were to help, a few extra, muscle, like I said, a few extra people around, just ensure there's nothing happens, right?
Yeah, do you mind if we speak for a moment?
No, go ahead and speak. But if you do this, I will totally waive the fees for any travel costs associated with joining this caravan here. I will cover it myself, and I'll even put in a good word with the House of Philia whenever you guys get back.
Understood. It's a generous offer. Thank you. Well, let us confer. I understand we have until sundown.
Yeah, no problem. Take your time. Let me know. I'm always here.
Cool. I think I stand up and we walk out of earshot. And I just turn to everybody like, hey, so we can't do that, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
say what you want about our religious beliefs. It feels like there are better ways to get this money.
is there? I guess it's an option. Is there a way to let them do the whole thing and then we get the money out of the thing?
Yeah, that's what I was expecting would be the plan.
Not just take it straight up, but take it
After the fact.
And also, does the gold amount really matter for the ritual? Is it the cleric that they worship needs 500 gold, exactly 500 gold, or is it just here's a cup of silver?
No, it's probably, if you base it on any other religious practices similar around the world, it's probably what they can offer, right? But in a place like this, even if it's not a lot, it's more than likely a sizable chunk of their coffers, right? If these people do believe that the spirit of the spring is the only thing that sustains their village, they'll give it everything they can manage.
I feel it's just kind of odd that they signed an agreement and now they're refusing to pay it.
Almost certainly they didn't understand the terms.
It does feel like they've been fooled a little there.
I will say, it has never occurred to me to offer money directly to a cleric. It doesn't seem like something that they would have a great deal of use for, but...
Lee, give me a history check.
Do I get advantage on this for that trait?
Yes, you do.
Sick.
Do you want to clarify what trait you're talking about?
Jake let us make special kind of Fallout-style traits as part of our character sheets. So kind of a you get some, you lose some type thing. Mine is called number one fan. I basically, anything to do with clerics, I get advantage on int-based checks. But if a cleric is actually in front of me and I'm interacting with it, I get disadvantage on all charisma-based checks. I'm a huge nervous wreck in front of an actual cleric. But if it's something to do with them, I have a really good idea of what it is. My first roll was a 5 + 4, 9. Second one is a 4 + 4, 8.
Okay.
That's rough.
Lee, you recall you're trying to rack your brain for everything that you learned while growing up about clerics, but you were not really the kind of person to pay a ton of attention in class, so you're pretty confident that you're right about this. But
at least, I mean, literally money. Like I know about. I've heard of sacrifices. I've heard of offerings, certainly, but it seems unusual for a cleric to have any desire for currency, right? It's fine. It's not for me to judge, but I think you're right. Maybe we can let them go through with the ceremony and retrieve the gold later. Maybe we can find something else. What if we offer them, access to the parts of the airship?
Oh, I think a good idea would be we could say yes to this guy, and give him an alternative, saying if we can figure out a way to give you the money peacefully without needing the muscles at also.
I think we could offer them something worthwhile in a different form. We're not using the airship. For all we know, they've already taken the engine, but we could, for example, say that we'll put in a good word with Malus, that the pieces of the airship were given up, or that the airship was destroyed more totally than it is, whatever. We'll make something up so that they can take pieces without getting in trouble later when Malus, certainly comes back to this spot to retrieve it.
I'd like to review these written contracts to determine if they were fooled or not, because from talking to Suha and Jafar, they were not super familiar with the terms and seem to think that Nadim is fooling them in some way. Do we care enough to find out whether Nadim fooled them, or whether they are lying to us, or is that...
If they were under the impression that Nadim's repairs to the village were an act of goodwill, I can understand where they're coming from, but yes, if they all signed a contract that they had good reason to understand, that I don't know that there's really anything we need to do on their behalf. As much as I hate to say it, I don't want to leave them penniless and poor, especially after they housed us for the night, but let's see if we can review that. I leave that to you, Kato, but I'll bring it up if you want.
Yeah, you're the paper guy. You understand it more than I can.
Yes, I'm the paper guy.
New nickname.
Sure. Okay, yeah, I can review it. Without John here, I'm a little over my head, but may he rest in peace. Yeah.
Kato never liked John.
So what next?
I think I walk back over to Nadim.
Yeah, okay, so you guys head back over to Nadim's, and as you approach, he looks up and says, "Hey, you're back. What can I do for you?"
Yes, we were hoping to, for our edification, and so that we might be able to explain it a little better to the residents here. Could we see the contract that they signed?
Oh, sure, absolutely. He stands up and says, "I'll be back in just 1 second," and walks inside the building, leaving you all standing next to Arwa, who's just looking at you wide-eyed.
At anybody in particular?
She is shifting between you all, taking you all in.
Whew, good. I think I lean over to Kato and whisper, it occurs to me that if he brings us a different version of the document, we will have literally no way of knowing.
Yeah, we're going to have to get it from both parties.
Okay.
Nadine comes back out, hands you guys the contract. Who takes it?
I'll take it.
Okay, so Kato, you look at this contract. This is a short and sweet 1-page, boilerplate, standard terms, nothing
Spoiler.
Nothing fancy here. Everything is clearly listed out. Lee, you look at this contract, and boss music starts playing. Paragraphs are long. There is jargon in here you've never heard before. If someone asked you to sign this thing, you would have no idea what the fuck you're signing to.
I look over it. I'm like, no, I'm not looking anymore.
Just starts sick. Gets
Never
a
mind.
headache.
At the bottom, you see that Suha and Jafar have signed it.
Just the two of them?
Kato, this contract only references their house. You assume that other households signed separate
Okay,
contracts.
but it is pretty cut and dry that they owe money and they haven't paid it?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Okay. I directly asked Kato, like, what the hell is all this?
Honestly, it's pretty boilerplate. It seems like he's telling the truth. We'd have to take a look at the agreement that they have. That being said, I am an expert here, so I don't know if they maybe didn't understand what they were signing, but there have to be a few good faith attempts in getting the debt back before taking this much of a drastic move.
The whole time they've been talking all this contract stuff and everything, Aila has kind of just been letting him go. She's not even really paying a lot of attention to it. Honestly, she's still more interested in Arla and looking at what's going on around them and just trying to feel out the energy in the space. More interested in what's not being said.
Do you want to give me an insight check?
An 18.
An 18. So, first off, Arwa is just an enigma to you. You do not know what her deal is. But you study Nadim, and you just, not literally, but you just see slime dripping down every inch of that
Snake
guy.
oil.
Guys, I haven't figured out Arwa yet. There's something off there. But I don't trust Nadim any farther than we could knock him over. There's something very wrong here.
If Kato's right, or there's a lot we can do about it, casting aside the fact that we're in a different country and enforcement may work differently here than it does what we're familiar with.
Why don't we just go talk to them?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Let's go talk to them. Talk to the people who signed the contracts.
You all move to head back to the festival platform, but as you do, Nadim says, "Hey, where are you going with that? I need that."
Do you have a copy we can take?
This is my copy. I'm sorry, I need that.
But do you have an additional copy, or can we make one?
Like, you want to write it out?
I would like to compare this against the copy that they have of the contract that you agreed.
Copy that they have. This is the copy. This is the contract.
They don't have a version of it?
Do they need one?
Ideally, yeah.
Well, like I said, if you want to write it out and give them a copy, then feel free. But this one is mine. I need it.
How did they sign this then?
Their names are right there. What are you talking
What
about?
were the agreements when they signed it in person?
These were the agreements. It's listed out on the contract.
How did you get their signature?
I sat down with them, talked them through the contract, and asked them to sign it.
When he says talk them through the contract, can I kind of get a little insight on whether he may have omitted?
You can roll insight. Yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly where all this would have come from.
Ooh.
What you got, man?
Would this be considered a check relating to international trade?
Oh.
Wait, what'd you get first? Because you still have Bardic if you want to use it.
That doesn't matter.
Not a
No.
good situation.
No, this
It's
is
that
not
bad, huh?
This is not international trade. No. I like it.
I got a dirty 20 on it, thinking did he actually sit down with these people, or did he I kind of talked to him about it, and they kind of...
Connor is apparently my ghostwriter because I got a nat 1.
Damn.
Yeah, Connor. Yeah, this guy doesn't see embellishment as anything special in terms of like the mechanics of conversation. He did something like talking them through the contract. It's not an outright lie, but the implication, it does not align with the truth.
Nadim, one last question
Yes.
for you. Did they have representation present to represent them
Like
in
law?
any form? Or were you the... Let me finish my sentence, please. Were you the only one present during their negotiation with you, if you would call it that?
Oh, I mean, I allowed them to consult whoever they wanted as part of this. I think with this one, if I remember correctly, it was just Suha and Jafar who were there at the time.
Interesting. Kato's starting to get a little mad, and he just sort of hands the contract to whoever is closest to him and starts walking away so that he does not punch Nadim in the face.
I follow suit with him.
Are there any plates of hummus nearby?
No.
Yeah, for real.
No, there's a plate of dates,
yet.
but
Signature
Okay.
move. I mean, it seems fairly obvious, at least to Connor, like there were some lies of omission here.
Yeah.
But I don't know that, like, I think Lee walks away with you guys, just kind of sets. Do you set the contract down? You're not holding it anymore?
I gave it to someone who was still with Nadim and walked away.
I tell you what, I do very quickly, like, pull out a notebook and write out a copy of it, just so that I can have the wording.
it would take about an hour to copy this
God
down.
damn! I thought you said it was a 1-page boilerplate document.
It's fine print, baby.
Shit. All right, never mind.
That's 9-point font, my guy.
All right, never mind. I don't do that. I'm gonna. I guess I hand it back to Nadim, and I'm like, let us confer again.
Sure, anytime.
We should return shortly, and we all as I'm just following Kato. I assume you're just walking, just trying to blow off steam.
Yeah. I mean, I will probably generally walk in the direction of Suha and Jafar's place to talk to them about this.
Sure.
Hustle a little bit to catch up with you. I'm just like, Kato, I mean, even if he wasn't honest, or if there was a lie of omission there, it's still a contract, you know. I don't like it, but how can we? We weren't there. How can we possibly, correct this?
Look, when the contract fails, that's when the hammer comes out. And the reason why I've walked away is I'm preventing myself from beating the man to death with hammers right now. It's clear that this man is slimy.
Connor, you feel a tug on your shirt sleeve, and when you turn around, there is a small child up there looking up at you, wide-eyed, excited, jittery, and he beckons you to come down to his level.
Okay, come down. What you want?
The kid laughs in your ear, and he's like, I have a secret. Can I tell you something?
Sure.
Okay, come here.
See why not?
The kid smiles big, looks back at an alley, and starts running, and then turns around and, like, looks to see if you're coming.
Kato.
I shrug at you. I'm in a mid-conversation with Lee. I don't know.
Back. Follow.
So you start following the kid down this alley. The kid rounds a corner behind the house and waits. You see that as you round that same corner, the kid's looking back to see if you're following, and then he dashes behind all the houses.
Where are you going, kid? He's just following. Why? You gotta tell me something. You gotta tell me right here.
Yeah,
He's
I was gonna say,
following.
and before I walked out of where we were, I looked at Arwa and I said, "Thank you again for the tea," and then went out. And so I'm kind of slowly tagging behind all of you and see Connor peel off.
So, you saw Connor chasing some kid, and Aila, what are you doing after you see that?
I decided to follow Connor.
Okay. Are you being kind of cool about it, or what are you doing?
Yeah, just kind of back behind him a little ways, just because I don't. Something seems odd.
So, Connor, you have rounded the corner behind these houses and are following the kid, trying to figure out what's going on. The kid runs back, keeps running, turns around to look at you, smiles, and then his smile drops. And you feel a knife in your back.
Ah, son of... I elbow back to kind of get some distance.
Before you get a chance, let's figure out how much damage. So that is going to be 10d6.
10d6? 60 damage, Max? It's gonna kill me instantly.
TPK coming.
31 piercing damage.
Don't worry, you'll be all right.
31.
And 14d6 poison damage.
Whoa.
Well, I die. I have 25 HP. That kills me
Yeah, that would
outright.
kill him outright.
I think he just wants to kill me.
That's going to be 38 poison damage on top of that.
So I die.
The last thing you see as the darkness falls over you is the child turning, running away in fear, and the sounds of it crying. And you fall down into the sand. The four of you wake up. You hear a voice say, "It's about time you all wake up. The sun is out, and we could use some extra hands to prepare for the festival." You find yourself in a small room on 4 rolled-out mattresses that are far too small for you. And that is where we'll end our session.
What the fuck?
Fuck you.
You fucking time looped us?
We're fucking Groundhog Day.
It's gonna do. The first thing he's gonna do waking up, he's
The
screaming
way
his
I
head
just
off.
rolled my goddamn eyes.
I saw it. I saw you roll your eyes. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure my chin hit my chest.
I was like, there's literally no way he offs one of us 100%.
Well, I'm sitting here going,
I'm like, hang on.
Yeah, I'm
do you
like,
want to
okay,
walk
all
that
right,
one
there's no
back?
resurrection. There's no
save.
resurrection.
Yeah,
He said there's no resurrection.
That's not even like a spare the
No
dying
AC.
type move. That's like a
No, that's insta-death, yes.
I insta died. There wasn't a. So we go back to
Damn.
that. 10d6.
Lynn,
10d6
Len, what
to
did you
start
do?
with, 14d6 poison
That
damage
means the
to follow
person
that.
that was like level 10. That's like a level 10. That's like level 10 rogue. Maybe a level 12.
you were the one that elbowed them back. You asked for it.
yeah. This is his fault.
I
That's
All
I
right,
didn't
terrible.
get a chance.
I'm gonna throw hands
I
at
didn't
Jake.
get a chance to survive this. I died.
Fuck, man. I mean, do you know what? Do you know what occurred to me and what I was gonna say in character, like right before you had a kid walk up to Connor to lure him to his death? And I'm gonna say this next session. Probably first thing we do when we wake up. That's so bizarre. That's so funny. But like, he's only got the one copy of the contract.
Yeah,
What if we just fucking burn it?
that's a great point.
I mean, he'll probably start a fight with us, but like,
That's what he gets for not making a carbon copy.
honestly, yeah.
You should wake up and say that and see if everybody else knows what you're talking about.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I think
Yeah, we'll find out if we have our memories or not.
I'm curious, yeah, if it's going to be like literally we're walking one moment and then we're awake the next. So like we wake up in our beds still having that conversation. And I'm just like, wait, what the fuck? What's happening?
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Echoes of Malus is created and DM'd by Jake Parsley. Connor is played by Justin White. Lee is played by Anthony Mott. Aila is played by Annabeth Parsley. Kato is played by Drake D. White. Additional writing and combat design are provided by Zachary Cox. Our audio editor is Drake D. White. Our music is by Public Circuit. And our concept art is by EternalGem. Your producer is me, Leanne Jay. We'll see you next time.